it going, Levon?
Going good, going good. How about you?
Good.
So, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, make sure you tune into our Sean Merriman interview that we had on Tuesday. It's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Um, and let's get started with this week's show. So, we got a must win against the Vikings, and now we play the Raiders. So, Jason, I'll let you get your thoughts out about that game.
All right. About the Raiders game or the
Yeah.
Vikings? Yeah. Yeah. Huge week. Yeah, division opponent, a team that we should beat. If you look at it on paper, but division matchups are always seem to always be more difficult than it looks like. So there's going to be a lot of Raiders fans at SoFi. I'm going to be there too. I'll be cheering on the Bolts. But they still have some dangerous players, even though they may not look like, a dangerous team. They still have Devontae Adams. They still have Josh Jacobs, Max Crosby, so you can't take this team lightly. So we'll see. We'll see how our run defense is against Josh Jacobs. Last week it faltered against Alexander Madison. First game this season, we haven't really been able to stop the other team's run, and we didn't get our run game going either. So these are some things we should watch out for. What are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I think regardless of the way the defense plays this week, Devontae Adams is going to have a big game. The comments that he had, after that loss against the Steelers, it's either win now or trade me. So I think regardless, he's going to want to have a big game, prove himself to the league, not just the Raiders, but to the league because he wants his trade value as high as possible. Um, like you said, Josh Jacobs, he has struggled, and let's just hope that they don't, have him turn into LaDainian Tomlinson against us. Um, when it seems like when I was looking at the statistics, when he plays at SoFi, he struggles. When he plays in Vegas against the Chargers, he plays phenomenally well. So I hope that's the case, and he struggles on Sunday because if Jacobs has it going, and let's say Garoppolo plays, there's going to be more options for Garoppolo to work with. Now, currently, he's going to Jacoby Myers mainly and Devontae Adams, and the tight ends really are left out of it. It seems, and they don't really have a wide receiver three, so the offense is very limited for the Raiders. Josh Jacobs is, I think, the second best playmaker on that team, so they can't have him, having a big game. Alexander Madison had a big game, and I was afraid of that, and it happened, but they pulled it out. But yeah, Justin Jefferson had a big game week 3, so I expect the same from Devontae Adams. What the Chargers defense has to do is pressure Garoppolo and make that offensive line sweat. Thule played very well against the Vikings, and I expect him to do the same against the Raiders. And the more reps he gets, the better he's going to get. So I'm excited to see what Thule can do. And I think his Rookie of the Year odds have moved up in sports books. So yeah, it's nice to see him, get time on the field. And every time it seems like when he lines up on the same side as Bosa gets a sack, or the quarterback's pressured to throw. And like Sean Merriman said on Tuesday, it seems like quarterbacks are afraid to face this defense. And like week 1, Tua was getting the ball out very quickly. And so was Kirk Cousins in week 3. So offenses know, quarterbacks know what this defense is made of. Bosa, Mack, Sebastian Joseph, they played well week 3. So they're going to get the ball out quickly. And how are you going to, limit that? I don't know. But you just have to make sure that uh, the receivers don't get open quickly. I guess that's one way to limit those quick releases from QBs. And the good news is that Devontae Adams isn't the quickest wide receiver, But the bad news is that he is one of, if not the best route runner, like right there with Keenan Allen. So how is that defense going to hold up? And offensively, I'm not worried at all. I think the offensive line will hold their own against Max Crosby. He's going to want to be the disruptor. They should double him because that Raiders line doesn't have much. And I think if Austin Ekeler plays, that's great, but it's a high ankle sprain. So how much workload are they going to give him? And Joshua Kelly, he's disappointed the last 2 weeks as the running back one. So is he going to be better with Eckler? Or if he continues to struggle, is that going to open up a space for Isaiah Spiller to take the RB2 spot? Um, it remains to be seen. But I think one question that a lot of fans have going into this game, who's going to be the wide receiver two? Since Mike Williams went down. And I'm not going to count out Joshua Palmer just yet. I think, he has what it takes to be the wide receiver two. We saw him in the wide receiver one role last year when Keenan and Mike were out. He did a decent job. So I'm not going to count him out. What I will say, though, is that Quentin Johnston is going to work his way to that wide receiver two spot because there's a reason why we drafted him first round. We drafted him as a Mike Williams replacement for next year, but now the training wheels have to come off. He has to step up this year. And, when he has been on the field, we spoke about this with Sean as well, it's opened up more opportunity for Keenan Allen. And they're going deep to Keenan Allen when Johnson's on the field. But now that Mike Williams is out, who is that going to open more opportunities for? Is it going to be Keenan Allen? Is he going to see even more targets? Or is it going to be Palmer or Johnston? Or is Darius Davis going to get in the mix? So it should be interesting to see how that wide receiver core plays out. I think Keenan Allen will see 15 to 20 targets in week 4. I don't think anybody on that Raiders defense can stop Keenan Allen. He's going to have another big game. And, some are saying they will double him, this and that. It's not going to work. He will find a way to get open. He's going to have a big game. He's going to have a big season. And for fantasy football, guys, he's number 1 overall right now. Overall. Number 1 wide receiver, number 1 overall. So just putting that out there.
Yeah, I agree. And, Quentin Johnston, he's got all the talent, all the tools, the speed to be a star. He just has to show it on the field. But like you said, even without those big catches, he has been opening up things for Keenan. But yeah, we need to see Quentin doing it. It's just a matter of time. How fast is that going to happen? And Herbert already has that chemistry with Josh Palmer from last year, so you would expect that to continue, and he would slide right in, right away. Davis is interesting because I'll tell you, I watched in training camp, and he didn't have many reps at all with Herbert because he was with the second team mostly, and when he was with Herbert, I don't think I even saw a catch from Davis because we have so many big, tall receivers. That's where Herbert was looking to. So
Yeah.
let's see him out on the field. That speed, we all know he's got that speed. But let's see if Herbert actually throws to him.
Yeah.
Uh,
I would expect like jet sweeps, wide receiver screens, those types of plays for Darius Davis. And then also Gerald Everett, I think, will be more involved in the passing game. He hasn't seen many targets. I think last game he had 7, so that was the most he's seen this season so far. Will he see more than 7? Probably not, but you just never know. It just depends on how the defenses cover Keenan Allen. And Donald Parham, I know we've spoken about him before. He's fantasy relevant now because Mike Williams is out. Yes, he might still be a boom or touchdown or bust type of fantasy tight end, but Mike Williams is out now, so If Keenan Allen's the number one in the red zone, Parham's number two. And it seems like he loves going to Parham in the red zone.
Yeah, I also saw a couple days ago that Everett may be questionable. I don't know if the status is updated since then, but
It's an illness, so it's
oh,
it's
okay,
not it's not it's not an injury.
okay,
Hopefully he's back before Sunday. If he's not, then Parham will get a bigger role.
yeah,
It's just I don't know. I don't know if because of his height and size, if he has a fatigue and stamina to play a full game, and that could be why they kind of keep him for red zone opportunities. And also his injury history, right? He went down against the Chiefs a couple of years ago. Um, and yeah, that was a red zone injury as well for Parham. So he's always kind of been a red zone player. But I mean, if Everett's out, there's nobody else. So it has to be Parham. So it'll be interesting.
yeah, and like you were saying about Devontae Adams, it seems like he always has big games against us. Even last year, he did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure he's going to be an issue again this time. And the key is just stopping Josh Jacobs. What's going to
Yeah, no,
happen? Yeah,
I agree with that 100%. Josh Jacobs, I think, is the key. Stopping him is the key to winning on Sunday, because like we saw on Sunday night against the Steelers, Devontae Adams went berserk, almost matched Keenan Allen's point total in fantasy football, and they still lost. So let Garoppolo throw the ball. They're not going to beat us if Garoppolo is throwing 50 times and you have Herbert throwing 50 times. That's just not going to happen. So just make sure to, limit, slow down, whatever you want to call it, Josh Jacobs, and they will get the win. I don't think anybody on that defense can stop the Chargers receivers. I know they have Marcus Peters, and Keenan and Peters have had battles in the past. I believe Peters played for the Rams as well, so they've had their fair share of battles. But I don't think that's going to be a problem. I mean, Byron Murphy Jr. was probably having nightmares after that Sunday game, so I don't think it's going to be a problem.
yeah, yeah. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Yeah, we should be able to put up a lot of points, and we'll see what they do. I mean,
This is the game. This is the type of game where you have to win by double digits. I know it's a rare concept for Chargers fans to say that, because we're always in one possession games, whether it's a win or a loss. But this is the type of game you have to put your foot on the gas and go.
yeah,
Herbert did not play conservative last game, and he had over 400 yards passing. And that included, the 49-yard touchdown pass from Keenan Allen. Still, he had 405 yards passing. So I think that's in the past, hopefully, the conservative play. And now we're just playing aggressively.
yeah. Herbert was great. I mean, hopefully, like you said, we see that from here on out. Um, yeah, I can still remember the Chargers versus Raiders game at SoFi last year. I was there. We got out to a fast start, and there were some Raiders fans right in front of me. A group of them, and one of them was just inconsolable about how we were up like 24-0 or something like that. His friends were like, "It's okay, man. It's gonna be okay." we need that again. We need that again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, we need a statement win. A win is a win no matter what. But
Yeah,
it's like, can we just get a comfortable win for once?
yeah,
And then we get the bye week. So this is an important week. I think going 2-2 into the bye week could have, should have been 3-1, possibly 4-0. Yes, but that's always the case with the Chargers. So 2-2 isn't a bad record for bye week. And it's a divisional game, so you need this. So yeah, I mean that's the key. I think just to stop Josh Jacobs. I don't think anybody on that defense has an answer for Herbert. And some people were nervous that Herbert was going to play more aggressively and turn the ball over. Well, he hasn't turned the ball over at all this season so far. No fumbles, no interceptions. You can't say the same about Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. All these guys have had turnovers this season. So statistically, Herbert has gotten off to the best start in the AFC among quarterbacks. And Maybe Tua is the only quarterback that has thrown more yards, but other than that, there's been nobody else. So
Yeah, and my other question is, how is Khalil Mack going to play this game? It's kind of a revenge game for him. We haven't really seen a lot out of him so far. In our interview with Merriman, he said maybe there's an injury we don't know about. Maybe he's getting slower. Uh, this is a big game for Mac to come out and show us. Show us what he still has left. We were saying the same thing about Bosa, and then Bosa came out with some sacks. So let's see what he's got.
yeah, yeah, it could be an injury, and Mac might just say, "I'm fine." Let me just play. I mean, he didn't practice yesterday; it was just a rest day. But yeah, I mean, age is catching up. You can't deny that. But I will say, I want to see Thule on Mac's side as well, just to see if that'll unlock Mac like it did Bosa. And I feel like when Melvin Ingram was with the Chargers, they did a lot of that with Bosa. So now you have Thule, Bosa, and Mac. You have three guys who can do that. So yeah, I would utilize Thule in that sense, and just have him out on the field more. I would put him out on the field maybe 70% of the time because he's still young. This is his rookie year. Um, and Mac, like I said, his age might be catching up to him. So this is Tui's time to shine. And I think he has a big opportunity on Sunday. And then, we go 2-2, let's say, to the bye week. Then it's a tough schedule. They play the Cowboys Monday Night Football, then in Kansas City. So it doesn't get easier.
Yeah, not easier, but definitely winnable games. We're kind of a team that plays down or up to the competition. So we could very easily beat the Cowboys and Kansas City. I could see that happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Especially after that meltdown that the Cowboys had against the Cardinals. Definitely. I mean, anything can happen during a week of football, anything. So I believe they play the Bears Sunday night at SoFi, and then they go to New Jersey to play the Jets on Monday night the following week. So those are two games that you have to win. So if you split, let's say, the Cowboys Chiefs, and you go, 3-3, then you beat the Bears and the Jets. That's 5-3, week 10. So I think best case scenario would be 6-2, obviously, but the chances of the Chargers winning against the Cowboys and in Kansas City, I don't know. The Chiefs haven't looked the same offensively. I know they put up 41 points against the Bears, but the Bears have struggled mightily this season. They put up 17 against the Jaguars the prior week. So receiver wise, Mahomes doesn't have those, you know, uh, wide receiver one type players. Rashi Rice, he looks promising. And of course, Travis Kelsey is going to be a problem. But other than that, I think Chargers should be able to, or I should say, Justin Herbert should be able to outplay Patrick Mahomes. So if that happens, then I'm confident that they'll beat the Cowboys and the Chiefs, and then Bears and Jets. But yeah, I mean the division is up for grabs, but they just have to win Sunday. Take it one game at a time. Of course, just looking ahead, it gets tough and then it gets easier. So
yeah, and of course we'd feel a lot better about it if we had Mike Williams. He always seems to have a huge game against the Chiefs.
yeah,
Always that walk off 2 point conversion or a touchdown at the end.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's gonna be missed. And that might be the last time we see him in powder blue. But we'll see what happens during free agency. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely gonna be missed this year. That's
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, yeah.
There was a quote here. Let me just share my screen. Can you
Okay,
see that?
yeah.
So, what was it? Um, right here. Justin Herbert on Quentin Johnston. He's one of those guys who's going to have to step up big time, and we're expecting big things from him. He's a smart player. He's really athletic, and just got to get the ball in his hands, and something special is going to happen. And prior to week one, Sean Merriman said he's going to win rookie. He has Johnston winning rookie of the year.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see, how Johnston performs. This is his big test, and is Staley going to allow Johnson to get, let's say, 50% of snaps? Just snap of a finger, here you go. Or is he gonna kind of, you know, slowly but surely get him into that wide receiver 3 role? It remains to be seen, but there's not much time, especially because look, Fehoko, he's 6'4", and I think he'll be a solid receiver. But historically speaking, when we sign these types of wide receivers, they don't see much playtime. So it might be different with Fehoko. I don't know, but I think the plan is to go Palmer, Johnston, or Johnston Palmer, and Davis or Fehoko. So.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw the talent Johnston has in training camp. He's capable.
Mhm.
You even just get him, short passes and his yards out after the catch, insane, man. Just that speed I saw up close. None of our guys have that. You mean Davis, but yeah, but I haven't seen it up close like that. And I have a question. Do you know anything about John Hightower? What happened with him? Because in training camp he was a star, and I know he didn't do much in preseason, but that was with Stick throwing passes to him.
Yeah.
It was a lot different with Herbert, and I don't know.
Was was
Yeah,
this the receiver who was with the Eagles?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. I'm not sure, but I feel like they just had too many receivers on the team at the time. They want. I guess it was between Darius Davis and Hightower because they have similar play styles, and they just chose Davis over Hightower. But it was surprising, yeah, to see they didn't even consider bringing him back, at least to the practice squad. But yeah, I mean, I think that's what it came down to. Just they had enough receivers.
yeah, yeah. So someone's gonna have to step up. And with Staley, he hasn't even really given Spiller a chance. So is he going to do the same thing with Quinton?
Hmm.
We
So it
don't
was
know.
interesting. In week 3, Spiller had outsnapped Elijah Doxson. And Joshua Kelly again just underperformed. It was a favorable matchup. And if Ekeler misses week 4 and Kelly again underperforms, I think it's time to have that conversation of Spiller being the RB2 and getting that opportunity. But if Ekeler comes back week 4 and Kelly kind of goes into that week 1 role and just, goes off for 90 yards and a touchdown, then it becomes evident that Kelly's an RB2 and is not RB1 material. So if Eckler, let's say, decides to leave next during the offseason, you need an RB1. But yeah, I think they should give Spiller a chance to be that RB1 because he might. So
Yeah, just get him some carries, get him involved.
yeah,
That's all
yeah.
we want to see.
Speaking of Staley, there was this video here. I'll share my screen again. Um,
All right, let me do that.
Chase Daniel, former Chargers quarterback, backup quarterback, uh, said this about Staley and Herbert.
Their plan was, hey, Justin Herbert, you're winning us the game. We're not going to run the ball. We're going to put you in shotgun because all this under center stuff when they're in double A mugs and these linebacker mugs, it doesn't make sense. So I get why they did it. It's not going to be something they do all the time. They were 100% ready for it. And that's what makes it even more impressive because you can practice these things, but he had like 5 or 6 different tools in this toolbox that Kellen Moore gave him versus zero. And that's why they said, hey, we're going to go out and throw it 47 times. You're going to complete 40 of them, by the way, which is 85, which is like, what? Like 40 completions in an NFL game. And we're going to lean on you. And there's been a few times where Staley has just came into the quarterback room, maybe on like a Thursday or maybe even like Friday while we're in there just getting our stuff together. And it's like, hey, bro, look, here's the deal. We're going to let you win the game for us. And you're going to throw it 50 times. And there's been times that that's happened. I guarantee you. That's what he said to Kellen Moore was like, bro, go win it with like let Justin win it. Let our receivers win it. And they had such good answers. Like it's just so it was so simple. You had to pick like just a bubble throw or just a little flat route or these motion bubble, like just stuff like that. And they just kept bringing it. And they finally hit him with a big play before the end of the half, which was insane in cover zero. He just kept floating back, threw it down the left sideline to Josh Palmer. And it's like, first of all, Josh Palmer, like, stay in bounds, bro. Like, stay in bounds. Because that was a dime. You're wasting his throws. But like that stuff, that's when you make them pay. And they just kept doing it. And sometimes you can get a little bit freaked out or not scared. Scared's not the right word. Like just overwhelmed with like, man, they're doing it again. Here you go. Like, what are we going to keep running these same plays? And are they going to? And they just kept doing it.
So I think that was an interesting take.
Yeah.
You know, look, you can look at this in two ways. Either Staley has no confidence in the defense or his coaching, right? And it makes some sort of sense that he doesn't have confidence in his coaching because after that Jacksonville loss, it derails your confidence, yes. And then after the Miami loss, it just piles on in the media and fans wanting you to get fired. So okay, that's understandable. But at the same time, you're the coach. You're supposed to be making these types of plays during the game, adjustments, etc. Not telling your quarterback before the game, yeah, man, just go throw 50 times and will us a victory. That's not how it works. I mean, imagine Bill Belichick telling that to Tom Brady. What type of reaction that would have gotten. But on the other hand, Herbert is one of the best, if not the best, currently quarterbacks in the league. So when you have a quarterback like that, it makes sense, right? If it's a backup quarterback that you're telling that to, then you should just lose your job. But because Herbert is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, it makes sense. But at the same time, you're there to make adjustments during the game, not just, tell them before the game 50 throws and get us the win. No, your job is to make adjustments during halftime or third quarter, whatever the case might be. So I don't understand that, really. I just don't.
Another angle is it could be him trying to instill confidence in Justin. Like, hey, we need you, man. Just it's going to be on you. So be ready. That could be another thing because we have seen, at times when Justin, like the Tennessee game, it didn't seem like his confidence was all there. So it could be a motivation tactic too.
But Chase Daniels saying this was last year.
Yeah.
So I mean, last year Herbert was playing. I think he was more aggressive than he was the first two games this year. So I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing that's still going on now. Telling him to throw 50 times a game. But I think Kellen Moore has unlocked Justin Herbert because yes, he wasn't as aggressive as we'd liked him to be the first 2 weeks. First week, let's say the run game was going, you don't have to throw that much. Second week, you have to throw, and he was playing conservative. Third week, we saw the blitz come, like we did the first 2 weeks. But this time, he got it off very quickly. And that happened a couple times. I was very impressed by that. So, I think Kellen Moore is, as that relationship builds, right? They form better chemistry with one another. he's going to get better, Herbert. And, you know, if Keenan Allen continues to have these types of big games, right, 100 yards, I'm not going to say 200 yards, because that's not going to happen every game. But 100 yards a game, that would be insane for Keenan Allen. There is a good chance Justin Herbert is going to be in the MVP conversation, if not the MVP. So Kellen Moore is doing a good job, and I think that should be said more than it is being said currently. Um, but yeah, I mean, going back to Week 4 matchup against the Raiders, Jimmy Garoppolo is not. He is not a sharp quarterback or as good of a quarterback as he was before. Before he threw those short passes and he was, he had a high completion rate. So you could give him that. He made smart plays. Okay, you can give him that. But he's nowhere near Justin Herbert's skill set. So I don't think it should be a close game. Again, you guys have to run.
Yeah, and there's the chance Garoppolo doesn't play, and they're saying they're going to go with Brian Hoyer, which is strange.
I mean, O'Connell, who's the third string quarterback, he had a good preseason.
Yeah.
And I thought he would take over Garoppolo's spot, by week 6 or so. When the Raiders are struggling, he'd come in. If Brian Hoyer is a starter, well, there's nothing to worry about at that point, truly. And I don't think Devontae Adams will have a big game if Brian Hoyer is quarterback, because more attention will be turned to Adams. And I haven't seen Hoyer play in a long time. So what is his condition currently? Yeah, I don't think Garoppolo will miss this game. But if he does, the Raiders will be smart to start O'Connell. But hey, as a Chargers fan, please, by all means, start Hoyer. Please.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pattern with the Raiders. They don't have the best decision making.
Yeah.
But yeah, Herbert's playing at just such a high level, man. Did you happen to see the video of Mark Sanchez kind of breaking down Herbert's play?
I did.
Yeah, that was great because he's just showing the decision making that Herbert's at a high level too. With all the talent in the world, all the arm strength, he's got all the tools and not even having an interception right now. It's amazing.
It's funny. The Dolphins fans, they were commenting when Pro Football Focus tweeted that Herbert's the only quarterback without an interception this season, with the picture of Joshua Palmer trying to get the ball and then the Vikings corner trying to pick it off, and they're saying, well, this was an interception. No, it was actually a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I mean, there are a lot of quarterbacks who have those throws and it is picked off. And that's an interception, yes. But this currently, he's at 0 interceptions. So, and, that speaks to his arm strength. If it was, let's say, Phillip Rivers, hate to say it, I love Phil, but if it was Rivers and he would try and float that in, that would have likely been picked off. Yeah. But because of Herbert's arm strength, it got through to Palmer. So, yeah, I mean, the Donald Parham throw in the red zone, that was incredible throw by Herbert. I think it was from the 1 or 2 yard line. I mean, he just, it was a crazy throw. Yeah, just his arm strength's incredible. So, I don't think any quarterback currently is going to be able to outduel Herbert, except for possibly Patrick Mahomes. And that remains to be seen, right? Because he gets rushing yards as well, Mahomes. And I don't know. I believe they count that towards MVP. Currently, Josh Allen is he's had, I believe, 2 fumbles and an interception so far. So he hasn't had his best season. And that's kind of, going back to before the season when we had this recording, I had said, if we go into Buffalo, it's going to be very difficult. But then again, you don't know what Josh Allen you're going to get. And currently, I think that the Dolphins are ahead of the Bills in the standings. And I would much rather the team travel to Miami in that weather than to Buffalo, in January when it's snowing and there are blizzards and everything. So uh, as long as the Dolphins keep winning, I think that benefits the Chargers because better weather, yes, the atmosphere is going to be different than SoFi and all of that, but the weather plays a big role in the playoffs. And as long as the Bills don't win the division, I think the Chargers are going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'd all love to see another shootout with Miami again. See, because we know we can do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
We can play them like we did last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like you were saying, I don't know why Staley changed up the game plan. It worked. Just keep it and see if it works again. And if it doesn't, then change it.
yeah,
Don't assume that the Dolphins are going to adjust before they do. It was, I don't know what he was thinking, but no, I mean, I have faith in Kellen Moore. I think they're going to adjust absolutely against that offense. And you're going to see less one-on-one matchups with Tyreek Hill, I think. If they do meet in the playoffs, you're going to see less of that. And that's going to be very beneficial for the team. And on top of that, I want JC Jackson to succeed. He is just not being able to get over that hump, whether it's still in the injury is lingering or whatever the case might be. He's not being able to get over that hump. But after being benched last week, the comments that he made just a couple of days ago, he asked Staley, what's going on? Why am I not active? And all of those types of stuff. Michael Davis struggling. Does JC Jackson come out and seem like the Patriots JC Jackson? Not fully, but partially. Even partially will take at this point. Because Michael Davis, he looked horrible on Sunday. And, I know I asked Sean Merriman on Tuesday what his thoughts were about Jossier Taylor, Alohi Gilman, and who was it? Asante Samuel Jr.
something.
And whether he thinks that, Davis or Jackson should be cut. And he didn't think either should be cut. I think I should have worded it differently. I should have said traded or cut. But, Michael Davis, he's been with us for a couple years now. He hasn't had any big moments. And so I'm just wondering when is it going to be a cutoff for Davis and maybe try out a different cornerback because it's just not working with Davis. And we might see Davis as an inactive this week and Jackson as the active. And if that's the case, you're putting him into the lines then again against Devontae Adams. So,
yeah. Well, JC just admitted he's not 100% right now. So, and we knew that. We knew that coming into this season. You know, it was going to take him a while.
I mean, we were both impressed that he's going to return that quickly.
Yeah.
It's just my thing is that if you're not healthy, why are you forced? Why is the team forcing him to play? And costing us big plays like we saw in week 1. So
yeah, you got to wonder, is it ownership saying, hey, we're paying this guy so much money, let's see him out there? Yeah,
it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, after last week, I would like to see Asante Samuel Jr. covering Devontae Adams. It's not going to be perfect. Devontae Adams is going to have a big game no matter who covers him. But let's see what Asante Samuel Jr. can do. And against the Jaguars in the wild card, he had 1 or 2 interceptions in the first half. So he's capable of those big plays. So yeah.
All right, Levon. Let's hey guys, make sure you subscribe and smash that like button. And we'll do this again soon.
And check out our Merriman interview.
Definitely. All right, guys. Later.